Hello, welcome back to a brand new episode of Sam Talks Nerdy. Hope you're happy, doing well, dominating life, crushing it. I just wrapped up One Piece Season 2, and I have to say, I was a lot more invested in it than I was with One Piece Season 1. How so? Well, let's get into it. Same deal as before. Let's go. My positives. Well, as I said, this season was a lot more interesting than Season 1, and I think it is owed to the story arcs. They had my attention more compared to Season 1. Don't get me wrong. Season 1 had some really good arcs. On Long Park, Loketown, Whiskey Peak, but it's just... I found myself more intrigued with the story arcs of Season 2, and... I had a hard time calling it quits when I was watching Season 2. Usually my limit is about 2 episodes a day, which is apparently not enough to get through the whole series in a timely manner, but... I watch my 2 episodes and then call it quits right there. But with Season 2, I had to literally tear myself away from the TV for a solid stop. Granted, some arcs in Season 2 took a while to get going, like Little Garden, which apparently this is a common trope of One Piece of how a lot of the story arcs take a good while to get going, but once they get going, that's when they get exciting. But just, like I said, even with some of the arcs in Season 2 that weren't really that interesting, I still couldn't stop watching. I think it's owed to the fact that there were constant stakes this season. I mean, let's think about it. Lower Garden, we had Nami, Vivi, and Zoro, at risk of dying during that whole big candle wedding cake, whatever, where they turned the wax statues. And of course, we have Usopp and Luffy, going against Baroque Works and barely holding their own. Then after Little Garden with Drumtown, we had Nami dying and the threat of King Wapol, which, by the way, Wapol. And of course, after that, we had Arabasta, which during the whole season was sort of a constant thing of, oh no, the rebellion is rising in Arabasta. Oh no, this is happening in Arabasta. Arabasta. And of course, when we get to Arabasta, that's when it gets really interesting. And of course, there's Baroque Works and how they were a constant threat throughout the entire season. They popped up in Whiskey Peak, and then they kind of went away for a little bit, I think. And then they appeared in Little Garden, and then they just kind of, I don't know, no, reverse that. They appeared in Whiskey Peak, and then they appeared in Little Garden, and then after that, they went away while they were at Drum Island, and then they came back in full force with Arabasta. And while I did say Little Garden took a little bit to get going, I still found some enjoyment with these slower moments. And actually, my brother did say that Arabasta is one of the better arcs of early One Piece, and I agree. It was a really good arc, and I definitely might rewatch that arc down the line. And speaking of, I'm thinking about this, and I don't know if I will rewatch One Piece in its entirety after my first watch through. It's just, I'm only 2-3 seasons in, and I feel like this picture of Squidward, it's a little draining. In fact, that the show's still going on, and I'm in season 3 right now. I also love the continuous world building of One Piece. I mean, we got some pretty interesting stuff this season, and we got giant Yeti rabbits, One Piece equivalent of Animorphs. I mean, we got 3 of those during season 2. We got the guy Dalton, what a dude, Chaka, hell. Arabasta was very Egyptian inspired, and again, that's just I love how One Piece does a blending of different sources and bits of inspiration for its world. My biggest positive has to be Chopper. Oh! Another character that quickly joined my list of favorite characters, and he is high on my list, maybe below Zoro. Just, how is this little guy this adorable and lovable? I mean, I knew of Chopper, but I didn't know he was so likable. Just, I'm smiling whenever he's on screen. And his backstory, just right to the heart, dude. I mean, there are a few things that can get me misty-eyed, but Chopper's backstory, ugh. In the feels, man. In the feels. And we see him get hurt. It hurts me more. I hate seeing Chopper get hurt, man. I hate seeing Chopper get hurt. Ace is another positive. I was told I'll be a fan of Ace by my brother because I told him I liked, Zoro was my favorite character, and he was like, just wait till you meet Ace. And yeah, Ace is another favorite character of mine. He's probably right there next to Zoro. Don't really know what this is representing, but so like here's Zoro, here's Ace. How about that? Just like how is this guy Luffy's brother? I mean, yeah, he's a bit of a goofball, but he's more mature than Luffy, and yeah, just I love Ace. He's cool, and it's always sad to see him go, but I can't wait to see him again. But with that said, Zoro continues to be my favorite character. Just dude is a constant badass. Just like with all his moments in season 2, just I loved him. I mean, like during Low Garden, where like he's stuck, being frozen wax, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna cut my legs off and fight. And then there's like him training during Drum Island, and then there's him learning to cut steel while fighting Mr. One during Alabasta. Just yeah, I mean, I don't think Zoro's gonna lose his place as my favorite character anytime soon. There was a lot of great character chemistry and interactions this season. Although off the top of my head, like Usopp had some really good moments of him spouting out some wisdom. Yeah, some of them were some of his moments were kind of out of cowardice and him not wanting to put himself in danger. But I also love the scenes with Chopper and Straw Hats because Chopper is basically like the little brother of the Straw Hat crew. I mean, we see him have a sort of a big brother in Zoro, and then just I cannot wait to see more of Chopper's interactions with Straw Hat crew because they're awesome. And I mean, when both him and Usopp are freaking out, I am honestly in stitches because just I mean, it's funny when we see Chopper and Usopp like freak out like independently, but like together, it's even more funny to me. I also like the sister dynamic between Nami and Vivi. And actually, I just kind of liked how Nami and Vivi just kind of worked together. I mean, yeah, we have Nami who's sweet, but she'd also be tough on the guys. But then we have Vivi who is just sweet all around. And Nami had a good bit of growth this season. She finally decided to start getting her hands dirty, and I love that scene between her and Usopp for Alabasta, where she's asking him to make her a new staff because she realizes that like she needs to fight. And of course we got some more because of pretty more good wisdom from Usopp, and also it was during that moment I realized Nami rarely gets her hands dirty, or she really fights voluntarily, because usually she has the guys fight while she just kind of hides in the background. I think the one time she's actually fought like willingly was during Arlong Park, where she took on some Marines, but other than that, she's usually having Zoro, Luffy, or Sanji, go do the fighting while she cowers behind cover. But yeah, this was a good bit of growth for her, and I can't wait to see her kind of get into some more fights. And to be honest, her fight with the weird spider, blue-haired lady, I forget her name. Was it no, it wasn't Miss Wednesday. It was something. Yeah, no, not Valentine's Day. Crap, what was her name? Anyways, but like I did like the early stages of their fight where she's like trying to figure out the staff, and she just keeps doing like party tricks, and she's just like, oh hey, look at that, that's kind of cool. But then she like immediately turns out and starts cursing Usopp. Brokeworks and Crocodile were another positive for me. Like they were pretty good villains this season, and unlike season 1 where we had like I think maybe Arlong was we had like Arlong, Don Krieg, Smoker. But in season 2, Baroque Works was the constant threat. They were built up at the end of season 1, and then season 2, they're just kind of there almost constantly. And I made this connection just recently, but Baroque Works makes me think of Spectre from the old Sean Connery James Bond films. I mean, think about it. And the men have, numbered identifications: Mr. 1, Mr. 2, Mr. 3, 4, 5, blah 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 blah. But of course, the ladies don't really have a number. They have a weird holiday or day named after them. And Crocodile did give me some like Bond-esque villain kind of vibes, with his gimmick hook hand, and then he had a trapdoor that led to banana crocodile thingies. And also Crocodile was pretty cool. He's probably my favorite villain next to Arlong right now. Just he looked cool, and his power of being able to suck the moisture out of anybody it's pretty cool. And I do know that he will show up at some point down the line, and I cannot wait to see him again. And also Nico Robin, she is fine. And my last positive, Karu. What a duck. Just respect. Respect Karu. Respect. My neutrals, and I only have one neutral, and that is Smoker. Originally, Smoker was one of my favorite villains, but kind of after watching him in season 2 and kind of looking at some other people's sort of thoughts on Smoker, yeah, he's just more of a cannon fodder villain, just, a guy that if they need like a villain for whatever reason, they'll bring in Smoker. And yeah, I thought he'd be more of a threat, but nah. I mean, he's still one of my favorite villains, but it's just he's probably knocked down a peg or two, where he's more towards the bottom of my favorite villain list, which is, well, currently right now, Crocodile, Arlong, and then Smoker. Well, actually no, Crocodile, Arlong, Don Creek, Smoker. Unless you also count Mihawk as a villain. Yeah, I might need to do some thinking on all my favorite villains, by the way. And for my negatives, and I also have one, and that is Vivi leaving. Just, I liked having a part of the crew. Just, she paired well with Nami. With like I said, we had Nami, who was, well, nice and sweet. It could also be a little tough at times. But then we had, Vivi, who was just sweet and caring all around. And it's just, I just really liked her dynamic with everybody, and it was just really sad to see her go. I mean, I'm sure we'll see her again, but just, she'll be missed. She will be missed. Alright, that is it for this episode of Sam Talks Nerdy. Thank you for watching or listening if you're listening via my podcast. If you are listening via my podcast, make sure to follow me on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. Also, feel free to leave me a 5-star rating and good review where you can, or leave me a voice message on Anchor. If you're watching me on YouTube, do the usual stuff. Like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to check out my reaction to the latest live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender trailer, or my review of Crisis on Infinite Part 1. And until next time, just happy to stay well, stay healthy, and I will see you or talk to you next time. Peace out.